Hi everyone, welcome back to the MCM Buzz Stage here live in London MCM Comic Con. It is our final panel of the day, but it's a good one because we have all the way from Game of Thrones, Roger Ashton-Griffiths, Hannah Waddingham, and Josef Altin.
Hello, Excel!
Hello, everyone.
They're very happy to see you.
They are.
And unsurprisingly, because obviously Game of Thrones is a massive show, I can't even say that I'm the biggest fan because you have some massive fans out there. Can you tell us about some fan experiences recently that have surprised you?
A recent experience. The problem is we finished shooting it last year, so what you're seeing now is for us ancient history. We've all moved on and started doing other stuff. So I have actually no tales to tell because I've not done anything since November.
I had quite a funny fan. I don't get a lot of people recognizing me, thank God. But I had a moment on a plane recently with my little baby girl, and I wasn't looking too hot at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and the gentleman next to me said, "Excuse me, ma'am, would I be right in thinking you can ring my bell?" And I was mortified that he recognized me, and I thought, do you know what, lady? Note to self, make sure you've got your mascara and lip gloss on, even at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Fair enough. How about you, Joseph?
Recently I was on the train up to see my daughter, and I travel quite a lot, so I don't do nothing except work and see my daughter, and that's it basically. So I get tired a lot. So I was on the train up to see my daughter. Last week, and I fall asleep a lot. I get tired a lot, where I shouldn't fall asleep with my mouth wide open and snoring and a bit of a dribble at the sides. Someone actually woke me up on the train.
Really?
And said, "Sorry to wake you up, but are you Pip from Game of Thrones?" That was a bit embarrassing, you know, I had to wipe my mouth and everything like that, but that was like the craziest fan episode, you know. Otherwise, it's just on trains where people know you from Game of Thrones. I just want to ask that question. Well, this was like a few months back. Is Jon Snow dead?
Yeah.
Is he dead? I don't know. I don't get the scripts anymore, you know. I'm not going to give any spoilers for anyone who didn't see. Yeah, so I can't say much, but yeah, that's it really. Just people wanting to know what's going to happen, or who's going to come back, or am I going to come back?
I had the opposite experience when we were shooting in Dubrovnik, and I had a day off, and I was in the cathedral, and somebody was pursuing me across the floor of the cathedral, saying, "Steve, Steve, Steve!" And I stopped and said, "I think you think I'm my brother." And it turns out he did. He was one of my brother's colleagues, retired a couple of years before, and he thought that I was him.
So your brother's slightly more famous than you, maybe? Well, I think we're going to have to assume for the purpose of this panel that people are up to date. But I'm wondering, in terms of Jon Snow and his fate, people have been pondering that for many months. Were you in the he's dead or he's not dead camp?
I didn't know for 100% sure, but like I knew he was going to come back because he didn't cut his hair yet, and he still had curls. So I knew he was coming back. It's like how can Jon Snow not come back? You know.
Whilst I was shooting in Belfast last year, I was having dinner with Kit, so I kind of thought he was probably working on the show.
I remember thinking to myself, they have to be insane if they kill him off. So I was a bit like, somebody's going to intervene, and of course, the beautiful lady did, you know. Although I saw him recently at his press night for Dr. Faustus, and he just looked at me and went, "I'm so tired of people asking me if I'm dead." His hands on my shoulders like that.
But it's nice to know you're all in the not dead camp. So the other question recently is, or the other recent news, I guess, is that Hodor has had a nasty fate as well. And so in terms of that, revelation on the show. Was that shocking to you?
Sorry, Hodor? What? Hodor's dead? Oh, spoiler.
Sorry.
I haven't seen that episode. I'm seriously. No.
You see, I thought you were joking.
Hodor's dead.
No.
He held the door. Tried to, anyway.
You bastard. Actually, I found out, I did know, but I only found out today. I haven't seen the episode yet.
I am so sorry.
I thought, wow, that's really some good acting going on there, but you're actually being realistic. I have a slight confession to make. I have a little 2-year-old, well, nearly 2-year-old little toddly person, so I don't watch it very much, if I'm honest, because I'm a little bit distracted.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're going to take a little different take on the interviewing process this time, because we know in the last episode there was some mention to time travel. So we have a TARDIS here, and we have some fan questions in the TARDIS. So if you'd like to open up the box,
Can I just ask,
and pick
is
some
it
out.
bigger inside than it looks on the outside?
Absolutely.
Oh my God!
So on the back there will be the name for who it's for, but you can read it out.
This is a question from you, Hannah. And the question is, your character is so vicious, do you find in her any redeeming qualities?
Yes.
I don't understand this whole, that's not a good look. That's how all us girls look first thing in the morning in the bathroom mirror, and nobody wants to see that. I do, actually, because bear in mind, you take on a role, you need to find something that you empathize with, and from where I'm standing, she just cleanses these horrific, self-absorbed, self-obsessed, over-glamorized slutbags. And it's been really lovely, in all seriousness, it's been really lovely playing her, because it allows me to completely put myself to one side and see the world from a very different angle. And I absolutely love playing Septa Unella. I think she's a very simple, down-to-earth, grounded, fabulous woman.
Of course.
Who's just extracting from people.
Do you want to pull another question out of the box?
Okay, so this is for everybody. Who do you think should claim the Iron Throne?
On which day? When? I mean, the standard answer is that one's own character, and clearly Mace Tyrell, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I always thought it was going to be Jon Snow. But anyone could. The way Game of Thrones works, the producers and stuff, it's going to be someone you're not even going to expect, maybe. That's what I feel, I don't know.
Dark horse.
Yeah.
For me, it would have to be my favorite character, and that's Tyrion. I just, I'm very rarely starstruck, being in this game of Thrones. But I just find both the characters thrust through all the series. He's just the heart of it, and everything happens around, and he's just this little soul. And in real life, meeting Peter Dinklage was quite something. He has the most phenomenal presence of anyone I've ever met. Really phenomenal.
I agree with almost everything Hannah says about Tyrion and about Peter. I don't think Tyrion's character, however, is a king. I think he's a kingmaker, and I think he's an administrator, and a brilliant one, but I don't think he's ever going to sit on the throne.
He likes to be pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Joseph, would you like to pick a question out of the box?
This one's to Hannah. Are people scared of you now in real life? More than they were.
I have to say, all my friends have gone a little bit kind of, we didn't know there was that side of you. My other half obviously always knew it was there. But I think when, particularly when people come to these kind of conventions and meet me, at first they go, oh, you're nothing like your character. And then I slip them a little look and they think, oh, okay then, yes. We'll give you a wide berth. Another particularly attractive shot.
Okay, so we're going to come to you guys in the audience for your questions in just a moment. So have a think, stick your hands up for me and I will come round to you. But before we do that, speaking of attractiveness, we found a picture of you in Benidorm and the difference is shocking.
That's my Benidorm Barbie look.
It's fantastic.
I used to be in makeup at 5:45 every morning. That's what these women that look like that actually do. I mean, what's wrong with them?
What would Septa make of her?
She'd think she was a dirty floozy and needed a ladle round her head.
Okay, guys, so if you want to ask some questions, please put your hands up for me and I will come round to you.
This is for everyone. Who do you think currently is most deserving of being killed off?
Who's most deserving of being killed off? Well, I think Septa Unella. I mean, she might think she's a good, rounded, solid woman, but biatch.
I'm probably inclined to agree. I just think, I mean, it was such an amazing moment for me when we were doing the Walk of Atonement and Cersei falls to the floor. And with all my might as an actress, I battled against them saying, help her up. And I thought, nope. And I think for that alone, a woman to not help a woman in need, kind of unforgivable, really.
I would say Joffrey deserved to die, but I didn't want him to die because he was an amazing actor and I love watching his performance. Done.
All right, next question.
Hi there, this is for all of you again. There's a massive cast on Game of Thrones. So is there a Game of Thrones actor that you haven't shared a scene with who you would like to share a scene with?
Well, I think you know who I'm going to say. Yeah. You. No. For me, it would have to be Peter Dinklage. And I'd have to try and not do the scene like that. I mean, I'm not sure there'd be a world where that meeting would ever happen. But, and I'd quite like to tame a dragon.
We'd all like to tame a dragon. Season 4, Joffrey's wedding and death, involves so many people that in fact I did work with almost everybody. The only people I've not worked with are the people in the Daenerys storyline. And yeah, it'd be kind of fun to work with them, but yeah.
Yeah, I only obviously worked at Castle Black with the Night's Watch. Didn't really get out of the castle. So it would have been nice to, there's so many actors I would have liked to work with, so much talent on the cast. Just too many names to mention. I would have liked to work with Tyrion a bit more. I did work with him in one scene, but I didn't really, there was no banter between us, But yeah, there's so many talent on that cast, and it's just, I could be here for an hour, just him, her, him.
The other side of it is that I've done no scenes up with the wall, obviously. Nonetheless, a lot of their stuff is in Belfast, as my stuff has been in Belfast, and so we hang out together. So, I mean, there is a sense I might not have worked with the people at the wall, but I certainly had dinner with them.
Thank you. Next question.
Yes, this is for Roger Ashton-Griffiths. We haven't seen your character in a while, and I was wondering where he's at now and why.
Is he dead now?
Just where he's at.
I'm back in Westeros, I think. I'm not seeing. Yes, this gentleman's nodding. I'm back in Westeros, and I think there's some army action coming up. Yes, this gentleman's nodding again. Thank you. So yes, I'm alive and well. I did come back from Bravos, and with the money, and I think all's well.
Okay, next question. Stand up.
All right. When you guys are a little bit of feedback. That's not good. So obviously, because Game of Thrones is also such a huge book series with A Song of Ice and Fire, how do you guys find when you're approaching a character? Can you hear me? Yeah, just about ish. When approaching a character who kind of already exists in a capacity, do you base your performance off of that, or do you kind of approach it from scratch? I don't know if that makes any sense, but...
Off you go.
I've not read the books. We're not replicating the books. I mean, clearly there's a relationship between the television series and the books, but the discourse is completely different. The relationship with the audience and stroke readership is different. So yes, I could read the books, and yes, I could sort of think about what Mace is in that character, but that's actually not the medium I'm dealing with. I have the script, and I have the costume, and the action, and the other actors. So no, mine is definitely not based on the books.
In the books, I believe Septa Unella is described as a hulking brute of a woman. How rude. Being part of the Order of the Seven meant that I removed myself very much from everything else that was happening to make her the most simple, basic, unimpressed character. I hadn't, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I was aware of Game of Thrones, but I wasn't very aware of it because I'd been doing a lot of theatre before that. And then when I was given the role, I dipped my toe into it, and then I just thought, well, hold on a minute, I don't really want to particularly know Cersei's backstory too much, because Septa Unella doesn't care where somebody is from, you know, and I just thought, well, I need to go with that and just see this as a person who needs to be cleansed. And in general, the roles I've played in television particularly have kind of been quite separate entities, and as Roger was just saying, something shifts when you go to your costume fitting, putting the wig on, or in my case the wimple, and something shifts on that day. So it's a combination of the two for me.
How I kind of brought Pip to life, how I found Pip, how I was basically, I never read the books as well. One, I'm really, really dyslexic. That's not an excuse. I am a bit slow sometimes of working stuff out, so I have to reread. So I heard a few of the, what do you call it? It's like a CD. What do you call it? It's on the tapes. That's the one. See, told you I was slow. Audiobook. Basically, listened to a few of them, but obviously didn't listen to loads because they were really long. But I have a few friends which read the books. Real big fans of it. So there was, as soon as I got an audition for Game of Thrones, there was like, who are you going up for? I told them. It was like, oh, Pip's this, Pip does that, Pip's with these people. Obviously, I've done my own research on Google. I just looked through like hours and hours of just stuff about Pip, just to try it. I'm not gonna lie, just to try and make him as close to the books as possible, because I didn't want for him to be someone else, you know. And hopefully I've done him justice. Where a lot of people said, you know, every time I read the books, I just get the image of your face. So that's nice, you know. And if I wasn't dyslexic, I would still wonder if I would read a book, because obviously it does go, obviously it's based on the books, TV, the show. But it could go in a different way, and then have your mind frame could kind of mess you up in a way. Because like, if you know, the books go one way, the story, TV show goes another way, then obviously why am I following the books? follow the script and what's going to come. Like in the books, Pip, he's still alive, still going, still living. When I got the script for season 4, I found out then and then I wasn't even told I was going to die. And when I got my script, Gren, I hope you've seen it, Gren, basically, his character dies as well. And when I got my script, Gren wasn't even in the script. I didn't see him die. So the first thing I call him and say, have you read the new script? He goes, yeah. You're not in my one. I said, no, you're not in my one. But I think they wanted to keep stuff quiet. But I said, yeah, my character's dead. He goes, yeah, me too. I was like, yeah, not just me then. But no, it's just, no, it's just really sad losing him, you know. But that's how I basically found Pip. Obviously tried to make him my own a bit as well, but obviously made him true to the character as possible, lifelike.
Great. Next question.
Okay, I have a very quick question for Roger and Hannah. So, if you could write a script, how would you like to die, actually? What's a good death? I think Joseph's death was glorious, so are you envying that? Do you think...
Is this a question about ourselves or our character?
Yeah, if you could... No, about your character, yes.
No, I really, it's not about how I would like to die, but how
also about you, if you want.
No, I mean, it's
an
interesting difference. In fact, I'm joking a little bit, but only a little bit. How I would like my character to die might not be the same way as I think my character might like to die.
No, how would you?
I would like my character to die quietly in bed after a riotous sex scene.
So would I. No. Oh.
You and me.
Well, I have to be careful what I say. I would say that it would probably have to have some kind of sexual content, because I don't imagine she's familiar with many sexual acts. Although she probably thinks about them in her cell.
No.
That's an exclusive. But yes, I would imagine she would have to be derobed in some kind of slightly aggressive fashion. And now I'm going to stop talking.
Next question. Last question, in fact.
Hello, guys. My question is, how would you feel about a possible Game of Thrones prequel involving the story of the Mad King and the fall of the Targaryens? Do you think it would take away from the mystery of that story, or do you think it's something that the viewers should see?
What is the mystery of the story?
Well, obviously it's spoke about, it's referenced to quite a lot in the series and in the books, and the mystery about it is what the audience imagines happening.
I think it's an extremely good point, and it actually reflects back on the earlier question about the books, because the relationship then is between George R.R. and the reader. Because when we do it, it's George R.R., the script writers, the costume people, the designers, the director, the cameraman, and finally the audience. So it's a completely different relationship. I'm not sure what the mystery is, though. I mean, I'm sorry to pick you up on this. Do you remember that marvellous line in The History Boys, where the character says, history is just one thing after another? And in a sense, this is one thing after another. You can imagine it becoming kind of massive, expensive Archers series. Which is, I know it's not going to do. But yes, of course you could go back. You could go backwards in time, and how well you would do it, how successful it would depend entirely on the resources and the quality of the writing, which, judging by the present series, would be pretty good. But beyond that, I mean, there is no simple answer.
My initial reaction to your question is that, I studied the classics, and I like the fact that the chorus, the Greek chorus, gives you so much reported action, and then it's left to you to decide what that was, how it looked, how people felt. And so I think sometimes things don't have to be absolutely realized in order for your brain to... Because for me personally, I think because that is what caused all of this, I actually think that it's better for you to be left to imagine it yourself, yeah.
I myself haven't seen... I ain't got Sky, so Yeah, and my mate's been cut off, so I can't see him. But I've just seen like bits of you know, Game of Thrones and trying to watch it when I can. You know, still ain't seen Breaking Bad. On the first step of Narcos, so I'm a bit behind, you know what I mean? So the only mystery I've been wondering is who's not going to die, you know? Yeah, sorry I can't answer your question, mate.
Well, that was fantastic, all those answers, in fact, and we've had a great time listening to you. I hope you've had fun on the stage. Everyone, please give a huge round of applause to our guests from Game of Thrones.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.